How's it going, everyone? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and this is the K-pop podcast. I guess I'll let you kind of decide the order we're gonna do of all these stories.
Yeah. Well, so we'll start say that normally we're doing like our Kingdom reviews and stuff, but you went to KCON,
I
you jammy
did.
bastard.
I
So
did. I saw Ive and Taemin in person. Um, bruh. It's kind of hard to like wrap my mind around like the order of it because they kind of stagger the artist
right.
performance. They're like, oh my god, they're just like as it's happening, like who's coming out and stuff. They put it on the little like screen above.
Oh
So
yeah,
there was
yeah.
like this person next to me who was very clearly there to see Taemin. So every time there was like even the
Understandably.
snippet of it possibly being Taemin, before the name would go, I was like, like losing it, And then it was like, oh, okay, like I was like, don't be so disappointed, Jesus. Like as each like non-Taemin person came to the stage. Luckily enough, everyone like Ive was really well loved like
Yeah,
there. I was
it would
really
be.
glad that like everyone was really excited to see Ive. I was kind of worried like maybe like oh I wonder if like everyone because there's so many like the NCT light sticks. I was like oh I hope everyone didn't like just
Sure.
come here to see like Taeyong and Wavy or whatever. It's not like I mean obviously I everyone has their fans and stuff, but I was like I hope everyone likes all the groups that are like
Right, right.
coming up
Well,
and performing.
it seemed that the only one who wasn't kind of liked, at least partially by other fans, was Rain. Right? There was like a big thing about him kind of getting like the silent treatment, getting a black ocean of sorts. I know like international fans aren't quite
Yeah,
as organized that kind of thing as K fans are, but he certainly seemed to get a bit of stick.
it's it's because of his handling as like a label owner or whatever. That's what everyone's
Yeah,
upset about.
yeah. He's had quite a few groups under his mantle for over the years, and he's never been especially good at managing any of them. Most notably recently was Cipher, who most people will know now via Cater, who was on Boys Planet,
Okay.
as well as some of the other members were there as well. And the problem with Rain is that he's very unashamedly himself, right? So when people asked him about Cypher, he was kind of like, "Ah, yeah, why do I invest so much money in these kids? I could have bought myself a new house with that money." And it's like, wow, that's a really callous and mean thing to say.
I'm
Like,
kind of surprised to hear him say that. I thought he's more of a kind of like well-spoken person, I guess you would say, like
yeah,
than
and
that.
and generally he is like whenever I've seen him talking about kind of his own stuff, is like, and he's quite normal and well spoken and respectable, and but when it comes to being a producer, he's not it. And I think maybe
It's like
that's
Michael
one
Jordan
thing.
owning a basketball team.
Sure,
Incredible
yeah, it's
player,
just
horrible owner.
yeah. Some people aren't cut out to do both. It's like
Yeah.
Frank Lampard trying to manage a football club, but he's just not very good at it. As a great player as he was, it doesn't always work out that way. I know, like when he left JYP to start his own company, he immediately kind of had these problems with Madtown, with M Black, the girl group whose name I'm forgetting, it's like 2A or something like that. Um, and that, yeah, now with Cypher, it just it feels like maybe he was trying to follow in JYP's footsteps or something, but just hasn't shown himself to have the same kind of mix of compassion and also songwriting and also industry connections that JYP had in order to get a group out there and be successful with it. Which is not the end of the world, but I think just the attitude that he's shown as a result of that, rather than saying like, "Yeah, I fucked up," or like I could have done better, or something like that. It's just kind of being dismissive as if it's their fault, which you know,
Or I think if he gave more of a
it's
statement like, "Yeah, I've kind of done like my best and tried or whatever kind of thing," and then maybe I've made like mistakes, like you're saying, like would have everyone would not be angry or
yeah.
whatever
Like
kind of
'cause
thing.
I remember Cypher's debut song sucked. I remember that. Like it was not good. Like it wasn't just like I didn't like it. It was like it felt like it was like mixed badly, and it just
The
wasn't good.
production quality was not
Yeah,
good of
the
all of it.
quality just wasn't there. But then the first comeback was much better. It was a big step up. But I feel like, well, if you don't make that big splash right away, especially if there's a long break, I don't think there was actually that long a break, but either way, it just like felt like they didn't have any momentum out of the gates, and then they just kind of petered out.
Yeah.
Which happens, and I think now a bunch of the members have left, and they're gonna like continue as like a 3-member group or something. So, guys, but best of luck to them, obviously. But yeah, it's kind of hard, and just the way that Rain's been meant that when he was announced as an MC and performer, people were less than enthused.
He chose an interesting time to do that, because has he released music? Like in
not
the
for
last,
a while.
Like I was gonna say, like he's just strolled up. He's like, "Hey, I want to go to KCON and perform," or kind of out of nowhere. Like, I mean, I get it. He just wants to perform.
I mean, I saw him last year here, and I thought that he put on a good show. Like, it was fun to see.
So he's been around for a long time now. Like,
yeah, like it was fun to see him do his hits and stuff, and a certified banger. So yeah, but K fans were pretty shocked about how roughly the international fans treated him. A lot of them were kind of like, "Wow, they're mad about that," or like, "I didn't know they even knew about that." Blah blah blah. And then people going, "Yeah, international fans are really fucking serious about K-pop." So
oh, like Korean fans were really surprised how serious the KCON crowd was about it. Gotcha.
Yeah,
like, that's that's interesting. I guess from their point of view, they're like, "Oh, why the people know all this stuff going on with Cypher across the
exactly. Like, because they don't know about that. They don't know Cypher are, which is kind of the problem,
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess another thing to tie into KCON is the legal proceedings involving a particular Saseng of NCT. I think her name is Judy, I want to say. If her name is not Judy, I apologize to the Judys around the world who've just caught a stray for no reason. Yeah, so she's been a Saseng of theirs for years, to the extent that she's even been seen in the background of some of their like YouTube content or whatever, like their vlogs and stuff. She's just been
the
there.
Vlogs.
yeah, like not like a little bit in the distance, like right there, like just a girl a few feet away.
That's
like
true.
It's very strange. And she's always had this very kind of high and mighty attitude of like, oh, the members know me, like I'm better than you, keep your hate gives me strength, all that kind of shit. So she posted a bunch of pics of her in the hotel room that Jaehyun and maybe one of the other members used during KCON, and was like, yeah, I'm in the hotel room, like here's the dirty towel or whatever. Oh, wow. And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? How are you in there? And she was like, oh, the members gave me the key card. Like, I didn't break in or anything like that. And SM were like, yes, we're going to press charges.
Yeah, understandably so.
Like, yeah, so we're absolutely not going to stand for this. We're going to press charges. And she's like, okay. And she posted like a thing of her getting like free legal counsel off some website to try and say that she didn't do anything and that her name is being slandered or like, and she's going to counter sue them for like mental health damages or something like that. Yeah. So that case will no doubt come to a boil soon, but I thought it was worth
something
noting.
Tells me SM has a better legal team than Judy does.
You'd hope, yeah. But I'm glad mostly just to see a company taking
serious action against it.
Yeah. Because I feel like too often Sasengs kind of get away with this kind of thing. I remember a little while ago there was a clip from, how they have those fan sites that record the members as they come into music shows and stuff like that. Like when they walk down, there's like, well, the fans are behind the barriers and people are just filming whatever, like fairly normal stuff. I think there were some of the 17 guys. I think it was when they were promoting Fighting. They were leaving some schedule or schedule, as you might say, and people had to like blink twice, but it was like hidden in a bush, like behind a billboard. There was just some girl with a camera like, filming like that. It was like CSI. It was like, wait, what's that in the back? In that, and it was just some girl with a camera kind of scary that they're just always like there watching. Like,
That
they always know
dedication
where they
is
are. Like,
terrifying. Yeah, that like
yeah. Um, so it's good that that the company's really taking, and I hope that it does actually result in some kind. I think is I think she has a point in that I don't actually know what crime she's broken if they'd already checked out. I don't know how exactly the law works, but if they're gone and she's just gone into the hotel room afterwards, is that a crime?
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know how that works. Like if that's a crime or not. I mean, it's
like
definitely fucking gross.
weird as hell, yeah. I don't think you can go to jail for being weird as hell,
Yeah,
especially trying to prosecute it cross country. So I don't know, but I hope there's at least some kind of, maybe they can get some kind of like restraining order or like no fly thing put against her or something like that.
Yeah, they should definitely be able to put like some sort of like she can't be within a certain distance of like NCT
But
type of like.
obviously she
restraining
doesn't.
order.
She wouldn't care about that. But then at least it would give the excuse to then bust her out for good. You know.
Yeah. She
Just use one of them as bait.
It's terrifying. Like imagine if you're a member and you know there's someone just like that crazy following you.
There was a thing like a year or two ago, someone who put a tracking device on ATEEZ's car, like that scene in Breaking Bad, you know, when he puts the tracking in the wheel arch, like someone legit did that. Like
some crazy fans out there.
Wild stuff. Yeah,
that is like that's terrifying though. Like at least, I mean, she's awful. But I'm just glad it wasn't while they were staying in the room.
Right. Like, there's been cases of people breaking in while out of sleep. There was actually a thing in Japan of that recently, like some woman posting pictures of an idol that she's obsessed with, like as he's just asleep in his bed, and she's just like standing over him, like
what the fuck,
smelling him or whatever. Like, yeah,
hell,
you know,
bro.
Yeah, it's actually terrifying.
That's really scary. She's
really
probably just like
chill.
Cuddled up in the bed next to them while they're sleeping. That's
and just knowing that you don't have any downtime from that, you know, you just have to be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week. This is my segue into talking about the Jungkook plagiarism controversy that has emerged, and it's like from a really bizarre or unlikely source, I guess. And that it's from the composer of one of Finkel's songs dating back to the late 90s, early noughties kind of time when Jungkook was but a glimmer in his father's eye. Or actually, when was Jungkook born? I don't know.
Probably somewhere around like that time.
Around that time, right. So, and they've said that, the Jungkook song is very, very similar, and to the point that they even shared the notation and showed that but for a few semitones it's identical. When you listen to the songs, it doesn't. I see where the similarity is, but like it doesn't. I think it is genuinely a coincidence.
Yeah, it's not like when like Vanilla Ice stole bum bum dun 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 dun.
Yeah, right. It's like, and the composers for Seven were like a bunch of dudes who worked on like a bunch of Western songs and stuff. I don't think they were checking through Finkel's back catalog and thinking, oh, there's a line we can
it's
use.
like it's the person who wrote like Senorita or something they were saying in the article, and it's like, I highly doubt whoever that is. It was just going through old 90s B-sides of K-pop to find their inspiration of their Jungkook song.
I mean, they might have done and thought they'll get away with it, but
it seems so unlikely.
But,
especially for a hit maker who's already made a decent amount of hits.
Yeah, like why would you? And the thing is, it's not. The person who the original Finkel songwriter who raised it didn't. They made a whole thing about how they didn't want to like make a fuss. They didn't want it to be like a big scandal or anything like that. They wanted to just go to Hybe and just have a chat and just amicably resolve it and just confirm that, you know, it was a coincidence, because especially in pop music, like coincidences can happen. Like there's only so many. I mean, obviously there's a lot of commonly used.
As someone who loves metal, if we started in metal music being like,
God,
oh my God, dude, you can't palm mute a fucking open E power chord. Are you kidding me, dude? Like, what are you talking? You can't. Did like all of '80s thrash if they started trying to like
It
go
would
at
be
each
a
other like Megadeth and
disaster.
Metallica and Slayer? Because you can literally chain connect certain like thrash metal songs and like.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so
It's
yeah.
yeah, it happens.
Think about the drum beats in K-pop. Like, are we gonna
Yeah.
start going after all the samples of like being used just of the same drum? Like, same. Yeah.
Wait, this is Fall to the Floor. You're not allowed to do
Yeah.
that. How dare you? Yeah. Um, so, but what sucks is that Hype didn't give him the time of day. They didn't even say like, sure, man, like, come in. You don't have to go and meet Bang Shi Hyuk, but you can come in and have a chat with some low level exec and just talk about how the process happened and just prove that it was just a chanceful thing, and that's it. Shake hands, move on. But the fact that Hype completely ignored him, just didn't return his calls or anything, that's a bit shitty business practice wise, I think. So that doesn't look great for them. But
No.
I don't think the dude has a case if he's not planning on taking it to court, as far as I'm aware. But I think if he did, he probably wouldn't have one. Either way, it's only 4 bars. I'm pretty sure it's the same melody, obviously, but it's 4 bars. But I think in order to actually stand as plagiarism, it has to be 8, legally speaking.
Yeah, unless like there's just a huge portion of the song where they literally like sounded exactly the same. I highly doubt. Like,
yeah, but when you listen to it, like it doesn't. So
yeah, that's what I was like. I didn't get a chance to listen to the two of them, but when I was reading like people talk about the two songs, they're like, these do not sound anything alike or whatever.
I mean,
and stuff
the
like
thing is,
that.
it's obviously kind of hard to, just because like the difference in the modernization of the production and stuff is so
And the older sound of the other production,
yeah. But like you can hear the melody is very similar. Like, you can.
This
definitely
isn't like when you hear the Stairway to Heaven and then that band that had like the riff before or whatever.
Oh, I didn't even think of that for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that case, I don't believe got anywhere.
Or the Verve and the Rolling Stones, right?
There's a lot of those like cases
Yeah.
in music because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen all the time. Like
It happens, yeah. But that's the thing, because it happens so much. Like there should just be an easy channel with which you can resolve it.
there should be like a if it is enough. There should just be like a monetization thing, like of a certain percentage of like revenue if it's provable that you have enough of the same, like, because rather than just like completely destroying something that people enjoy or whatever, let's say someone has 8 bars or more of like just something too similar, rather than just destroying and being like, fuck you, you stole this or something, it should just be like when a YouTube video is monetized to like someone else's content because you have their content or something.
Right.
It should be like kind of the similar idea behind it. Like
that would be a nice kind of harmonious solution, but people are gonna fight.
It's never gonna be that simple though. It's always gonna be someone like, oh, I want to sue you for millions.
Yeah. So I guess those are the two, the like lighter topics, I guess, and then we've got to do the classic 50-50 talk, which has been pretty.
The world is burning is basically like the 50-50 story.
So last week we said like they went to the mediation and stuff, and they were told that they should mediate, and then extended the mediation deadline, and then they still couldn't reach an agreement. So, and 50-50 said wanted to pursue with the court case. And then we also mentioned that SBS were going to air an episode of their show called Unanswered Questions, where they dealt with the case, and people were kind of looking forward to this as they thought it would be like an expose and would reveal some new information and things. And that's what it did to begin with, and that it showed like a bunch of things, especially about the members' diet and stuff like that. Talked about how little money they had to spend on food. Like their monthly budget was something like 50,000 won, which is like you could buy like, it's like $40 for a month.
Yeah, like me and you spent that going to a bar like one night, and like obviously
Well, we
you
were
bought
we were drinking fine
yes,
scotch,
yes, yes.
but well, yeah. So like you could
For
you
the
could live,
month.
yeah, exactly, for a month.
Wow.
So, and they also had this scene where one of the staff was like berating the girls, and there was like a pile of food on the floor, and then they said on the show that it was food that the members' parents had sent them, and they were being forced to throw it out or something like that. And Dispatch, and Dispatch in their, for all the evil that they've brought on the world, they do they are kind of an amoral entity, I think. People are a lot like to accuse them of being bored out or whatever, but I don't think Dispatch works for anyone. I think they
just
work only for their own benefit.
What they want to release, basically.
So they came in and basically said, yeah, none of this ain't true. Or like this is not what you think it is. So they said that it was actually not an employee of Attract that was berating the members and making them throw away their food and stuff, but it was actually a member of the Givers. It occurred in Attract's building, but it was a member of the Givers who did it. And they also exposed some other things. So in the show, there was an insider, some former employee, who was there saying a bunch of things like, oh, the CEO never attended a single monthly evaluation, like they were all afraid of him, they didn't get any money, they only ate chicken breasts or something like a day, and that was it, and all this stuff. So Dispatch went and contacted 2 employees of Attract, and they said that they've never seen the guy before in their life. They had no idea who that guy was. So there's already like, well, so people, and I think that SBS, if anyone, were the ones who were kind of paid off, or perhaps had a clear angle that they were going for here.
Yeah.
And are facing a pretty huge amount of backlash, at least in Korea, to the point that they deleted one of the videos about it, although they said that they always do that. But either way, they've actively commented on deleting this trailer, saying, oh yeah, no, we do this always, it's not because of the backlash. So then when SBS was then asked, okay, but what about all of the backlash that you've been receiving for like poor journalism and stuff, SBS then declined to comment. So it's getting quite messy. So basically, there's a whole bunch of different pieces of information out there, but I think what we'll have to do, kind of like what we did with the Chew thing when Dispatch came out and dropped their whole thing about that, to just kind of go through the information that they've presented, and then people can draw their own conclusions, because that's kind of all you can do, really. Yeah. I don't think you can believe any one side or the other.
Each time though, this just starts looking worse for like the members of 50/50.
Yeah. And one other thing, I think, I don't remember if this will come up or not, because I can't remember what article it was from, but something about when the Givers left, they had some transcript from a meeting or something like that took place in June of last year. And the Givers' contract with Attract supposedly ended in May. And it was the people from the Givers saying, oh, we're going to need to set up a new social media profile for 50/50, and we're not going to have contact with the Attract CEO or anything anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then so it's acting as if they've taken over management of the group. And of course, they hadn't. So clearly that whole thing of like, well, they were trying to poach them away or whatever. Why would they be planning on launching a social media page for them and stuff like that? Which tracks with the whole like fan cafe getting shut down or whatever thing that happened. So yeah. So that's also something worth mentioning. Anyway, so the 5 points that the allegations that the SBS brought up in this show. So point 1, Jung Hun Jun, the Attract CEO, was never around for any monthly evaluation, didn't attend any of them. Number 2, Attract threw away all the food that was sent by the members' parents. Number 3, Attract wasn't providing adequate food for the members. Number 4, someone wrote down the members should be paid nothing, that they didn't have any revenue to be paid. And number 5, they were in investment structures looked into when the group was created and members and formed and all of that stuff. Like, how was the investment from Interpark and the Starker and all that? How was it all structured? So Dispatch came basically what point by point went through it. So they said that they obtained schedules for 2 years from May 2020 to June 22, in which there have been 23 evaluations. In April of 2022, the 4 members for 50/50 were finalized. In May, there was an English evaluation, and in June, the group's preparation for the debut was evaluated. Did he never attend any of them leading to the group creation? They found a picture of an evaluation which took place on December 24th, 2020. Merry Christmas. In which he is clearly there. There's a picture of him. He's there.
So there's a picture of him being there.
Yeah. Then the insider who appeared on the show and said that they observed 50/50 closely and stuff is not there. And two of the Attract employees who are there said, yeah, like, who is that guy? Who is that person? Like, doesn't matter. So they talked about this employee who they only refer to by their family name. They don't have their actual name, so just Beck, like Becky or whatever. So just Beck or Beckians was the person who scheduled all the evaluations. And appears to be, and he's a member of the Givers, or she's a member of the Givers. I'm guessing it's a girl based on the way she talks, but I could be wrong. She seems to be the main figure in the Givers who was directly connected to the girls and did stuff directly involving them. And she was scheduling evaluations and stuff, which is not the kind of thing that's the kind of thing you'd think, the main company would be doing. But anyway, there was some weird stuff, just really bizarre, like when they were scheduling an evaluation in April, talking about some stuff, and she said, Jung Hyun Jin keeps hiccuping, please understand. But point is, she's talking about that during an evaluation or something, so it's like, yeah, he's there. He's involved, right? So then it begs the question, yeah, why did they cross-check this?
Yeah, it just seems like every time they release something, there's a hole in it.
Yeah, why didn't that? And that's Dispatch go on to say that it seems like he intended all of them based on what they've asked from Attract people, but they don't have enough. They don't have evidence to prove that he attended all of them, but they have evidence of him attending at least 2, and company staff saying that he was there.
Yeah,
so
they have.
That's more than what SBS said, anyway.
Picture evidence of him being there and employees saying he's there or whatever, and then on the case of the other person, they're like, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
So there's a thing. Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
Yeah. So point 2, did Attract throw the food away? So a family member of the group alleged that they threw away all of the food that was sent to them. So this was an incident that occurred on July 6, 2021. They know this date because 2 of the members, A and B, talked about it in their practice journals, in which they said, "I won't disappoint you in the future, and let's take time to reflect. Let's not become idiots." So through someone who was present, they were able to find out what it was. So it turns out that it wasn't full meals or anything like that, but it was snacks. The person who threw the snacks on the floor was the same employee who we talked about earlier, the employee Beck from the Givers. Mm-hmm. So it was a member of the Givers and not a member of Attract. Having said that, I don't think this excuses Attract at all.
Yeah, it's in their company building.
It's in their building. They're clearly
they should be
on board
responsible
with it.
for what occurs inside of their building.
Right. So why do they do this? So there was an emergency inspection of their dormitory at some point, which Beck apparently carried out themselves, because in June 2021, they began a diet and failed to lose any weight. So they said in the show, they had to do these BMI checks and weight evaluations and stuff, which is awful, but it's also standard practice.
Yeah, and I don't remember any member 50/50 not just looking normal or
looking like an idol, because does that make it okay that they do that? No. But it happens. So they did an inspection and revealed they found this is just like a contraband list from a prison: choco waffles, sugar straws, moon pies, chips, candy bars, chocolate bars, and gummies.
God forbid they have those things.
I know.
What a crime.
So they had to bring them all to the company, threw them on the ground in dramatic. Oh, it says Becca's a man here, but I can only see women in this picture, so I don't know. Of all of them, there was also one pack of seaweed that one of the parents had sent. So that's where the whole like it's the parents' food thing got it.
Mm-hmm.
So they got really mad, shouted, blah blah blah, scolded a lot, and put them in trash bags and threw it away.
What a waste of food. Why at least eat it?
Yeah, I know, right? so why do they have all these snacks? Like, was it true that they weren't being fed properly? So An Sung-il, the CEO of the Givers, recommended a detox program to Jong Hong-jun from Attract. And I think we've already said kind of in the past that the Attract guy seems like a bit of a clueless idiot and was just willing to go along with whatever was said to him. He was like, I don't know shit about this. Like, I'll just do what you guys recommend, like that kind
rather
of
than trying to formulate his own ideas and everything. Yeah.
So An Sung-il said, like, this is what we use at the Givers. We've seen good results. So Attract's employees asked 6 people, which included at the time the 4 girls who would become the members and 2 trainees who did not end up debuting in the group. All of them, except for Sena, agreed and signed like a mini kind of contract about this dieting program or something. So they ordered some food that was set for like set meals or whatever, right? So they ate chicken breast for breakfast, brown rice for lunch, and chicken breast for dinner. They were given multivitamin pack tablets as well.
Sounds like trash, dude.
It sounds like gym bro food.
Yeah, it's like it's like Henry Cavill's diet before his fucking 8-pack in like a movie or something, you know.
And like you absolutely would lose weight on that.
Yeah,
like undoubtedly, there's not much. Depending obviously on
well, especially they're working out all the time and dancing and everything.
Right,
they're losing calories.
They're undoubtedly not going to be sufficiently nourished or whatever, but they also drank butter coffee, which is like a way to just kind of meet calorie or get closer to calorie requirements. It's literally mixing butter into a coffee and drinking it. It's pretty good, actually. Don't knock it until you try.
No, it's just an interesting idea. It sounds like something that would be like fatty. And
it is, yeah. It's like ketogenic, you know. If you're not eating sugars,
if you're on like a type of like really fat oriented like good fats, basically. I got you. Yeah.
Exactly. And it has it's meant to have like slow release energy properties. And they said, so members were not losing any weight after doing this, even though they checked like a month later. So it's like, I mean, results don't happen that quickly, but okay. And it seems a member reached over 50 kilos. Shock horror.
Terrible.
Like, it's like half of me.
It's my thigh leg.
Yeah. So that's why the inspection happened and the subsequent stuff like that. So the SBS show obviously aired all of the statements from the family and stuff without fact checking it to reveal that obviously this wasn't family or food, this was just snacks and stuff that they had or whatever. And because of the fact that they're in a lawsuit at the moment, there's broadcasting regulations which are being violated here. And they brought them up. So Article 11 of the broadcast regulations: when broadcasting an incident still in court, care must be taken not to infringe on the involved party's right to a fair trial. Article 14, broadcast must be factual and objective, and unproven claims that may confuse audiences must not be aired as factual. And Dispatch are claiming that this was not followed by SBS.
The Western equivalent of this would be like if NBC released like something and then TMZ was like, "Yo, that's cat." Basically, like when that
essentially,
the two what these two entities are basically to the country would be like SBS would kind of be like NBC or something, right? Like a kind of major state television.
Yeah, a big international network. Yeah. And Dispatch is undoubtedly like the TMZ, and like yes, they are a tabloid, but I think when they come to doing this kind of stuff, they do some pretty good investigative journalism, and
Yeah.
I've got to. I really don't believe they have an angle beyond wanting to capitalize on it for themselves, which is obviously shady. But like they're doing some good work that a lot of other companies
It's
and media
like a
aren't doing.
necessary evil, you would say, or something, kind
Yeah,
of like, yeah.
definitely. I think it was true for the True thing as well. I don't think they were trying to smear True. They just revealed a lot of the stuff that we didn't know yet, and it was like, oh, now people were able to see. This is why people were saying she was a bully, and which was obviously her being really frustrated about the situation and understanding. Okay, this is that situation, and now I understand, and I can make my own informed conclusion from it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different here. So yeah, so the other thing is that this incident occurred between June and July 2021. At the time, the members were still trainees. They excluded their exclusive contract in March 2022. So if the incident had caused the like physical and mental shock, then they wouldn't have signed to continue. That one I think is a bit because like young girls who are pursuing their dreams or whatever might just kind of swallow something down, not the food obviously, but swallow something down and like just go for it anyway. Like, oh, we'll debut, it'll be okay. Because like debuting can become such a tunnel vision kind of goal.
Yeah.
It ends up not being. You just overlook other stuff that you're going through. So I'm not sure about that angle. But yeah. Okay. Point 4. So who claimed that members who were owed nothing for revenue generated from their music? So SBS on the show, they revealed the first quarter payment settlement, which emphasized that the payments were very low. The payments were 25,000 more.
Is it okay? So, but it's normal, I believe, in like K-pop, right, where they basically don't make money at first.
Yes, yeah.
And they pay like their
they have
trainee fees and things off. And I guess the complaint with 50/50 specifically was like that he was paying off his debt of the loan.
Yes, and exactly. So that's where the problem lies. Like trainee debt is meant to be the debt incurred from being a trainee. So the budget that went to their food, for example, the budget that goes to their accommodation, to their dance lessons, to vocal lessons, to English lessons and other lessons, to just general things that they had to pay for them, hair, makeup, styling, MV shooting, buying the song, recording, studio time, whatever it might be, all of that is included in the trainee debt.
At least they didn't get like the Def Leppard level bill where they're like, "Hey, you recorded this album for like $7 million."
Yeah, but yeah, the debt that the CEO had incurred in order to set up the company in the first place, he can't pass that. He shouldn't pass that on as trainee debt.
The money that should pay their trainee debt off should have nothing to do with his loan debt. I understand. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, and that I think is where he really fucked up.
Well, he's clearly like, I think he's just a goofball, you know. Like he's just a and
but,
like
I mean,
you said, he's very willing to like listen to so many people telling him what he should do as like a CEO of a company. Which it's like I don't really understand why you would want to become a K-pop CEO just to be like a yes guy to people telling you things all the time. It's an interesting career path he chose.
Maybe he thought like, oh, I want to have a successful group or whatever and become rich from that, and that's what his goal is. But it ended up biting off more than he.
Well, to be honest, he had the opportunity and sure flubbed that one.
Yeah, but then having said that, people are a lot of, especially international fans, tend like to believe that there's a big conspiracy, like a targeted hate campaign against the girls, and that paid for by him, and that he's trying to present himself in the best light possible through media or whatever. Maybe we're falling for it, and seeing him as an adorable goofball. I'm less inclined to believe that that's the case.
The amount of money I think he would need to pull that off just seems beyond his means, I guess I would say, or something. Yeah. Like you would need like basically a full wallet of money that you just constantly stocking back in, which I don't see how he would be doing.
Yeah.
Currently, like,
especially since he didn't get any of the Cupid money, so like
I don't see how he has the funds that people are expecting him to be able to pay off all these different entities that he would have to pay off to be able to do half of what they're saying.
Yeah, so it may be they are right, and he is like a master villain, and he'll be revealed as
I
one of the
don't
great
know that I think anyone
time.
involved in this doesn't suck.
Basically,
Like, I don't. That's like how I feel right now. It's like everyone involved right now just feels so like, I don't know. No one feels like a fucking saint right now or anything in any of this story.
yeah. So okay, so so they looked at this thing, and it's like crazy as well. Like the settlement or something was like they spent like 48.5 mil and they made 25 grand or something. It's like crazy. Um, and so there's nothing written for album sales and streaming revenue. And this big was so Dispatch got straight up just got the settlement document and looked at it, and they've shared it and everything. It said that yeah, album sales streaming revenue is listed as zero. This is because of the givers. The accounting employee in charge of 50/50's accounting made a mistake. I don't know how you can make this mistake, especially given it's like the quarterly statement. Like it's like one thing you do every 3 months, bro. Like write the numbers correctly. Like you're an accountant. That should be a fundamental thing to check.
Everyone involved in this is like people who
Just
don't know
inept,
how
like,
to do their job.
It's like
It's
hilariously inept. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to believe it if I didn't have personal experience, because my CEO, he had his accountant who does our company accounts and does all of our tax and everything, is not a qualified accountant, and it's just his mate that he is given a job who has no training in accountancy whatsoever.
It'd be the equivalent if
And
we started a K-pop company and I just called up one of my buddies, yo, you know how to run money, right?
yeah, like, and he just like taps numbers into an Excel sheet or something. No, he doesn't even do it in an Excel sheet. He does like in like a table in a Word document that he then adds up with a calculator. He doesn't know how to use Excel because he's not a fucking qualified accountant.
Remember, everyone, you can always fake it till you make it. You don't actually need to be qualified to do your job.
This is like the grand consequences of lying on a CV. So yeah, so the givers didn't send any settlement documents for the months between February and September of 2022, which includes the time in which 50/50 actually debuted, which was June 22, right? So they brought these messages between An Sung-il from the givers to Jung Hyun-jun from Attract, which are really funny. So basically it's a long message from An Sung-il, starting with like 대표님 죄송합니다, like boss, I'm sorry. I checked. I confirmed payments were sent later after being delayed. Documents were delayed from the settlement for the second half of 2022. Because of this, I believe the members' parents received them later. Accounting Director Lee from the givers has asked the parents for their understanding, explained why it was late. I failed to check on this. Like I should have done better. I was really busy, but I still should have checked it. Hyun, from Attract's accounting side, has now also become aware of this and stated that he would explain it to the members' parents. However, this is our mistake, so we will explain it to them and we will correct the situation. It's hard to explain this with words. It's good to see exactly what it looks like, especially if you can read Korean. But Jung Hyun-jin's response is it's like short form for okay, with like a cute little tilde and 2 exclamation marks. He's like okay, and then he says the phrase suga suga haseo, which means let's go up higher. And it's like a cute like cheer, like a word of encouragement or something. And basically says like, he's like, oh, it's okay that you messed up this critical financial document. We'll be okay. Don't worry. You know, just not really understanding the severity of it. And it feels like An Sung-il is like, you know, I've said it's our fault, so I'm going to take full responsibility and I'm going to do whatever I want. And this guy has no say.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So then it ended up with Attract fixing the accounting document. So we get into May's settlement in 2023, and we have revenues of 55.1 million, which is obviously significantly larger. Also hilarious that it would be 55.
55.
There's also, however, like pretty chunky expenses totaling around 700 million in expenses. so more than the song revenue, including a 579 million payment to An Sung-il for the song payment, as it's called. So for him,
We're talking 579 million won, obviously. Not
yes,
not
so
USD.
Yes, but that's still around around 432,000.
I was like, where Metallica's James Hetfield's net worth of his entire career was spent on Cupid.
No, they didn't drop back. But yeah. So yeah, basically showing that the givers were the ones who were fucking up the settlements. That was a key component in the lawsuit, as it was that they weren't provided proper settlement data, and it's like, because the giver's accountant messed up, perhaps deliberately. Like, I don't know, maybe my conspiracy theorist brain is there going, maybe the givers told their guy to mess up, or like purposely fudge the numbers to then say, to go to the members' parents to go, look what a track did, like, you need to leave the company.
Yeah, it's like, what's worse, that they're deliberately awful, or that they are just terrible at their job?
Right. I mean, it's which option is better, right? Yeah. Like, it's like that. Whose razor is it? It's not Occam's razor. Or that. I don't know.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name either. Someone will know.
I'm gonna find it. It's Hanlon's razor.
Okay.
Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. So maybe it's the case of that.
It's possible. It's also like both are bad. So it's
yeah. So last 1.5 is that they wanted to look at the payment in advance structure. So in these settlement documents, member A is said to have a net balance of minus 700 million won, which is around 522,000 USD. So they worked out that approximately 2.8 billion won, around 2 million USD, was spent producing the group. If a track was to go bankrupt, would members be responsible for this debt? No. If the group fails, the CEO is the one who's written. This is Jong Hyun-jun's debt. What if the total revenue is higher than the initial investment? That's the point in which members would start getting paid, and they would be paid 70% to the company and 30% to the artist, which is a pretty reasonable and normal revenue distribution for companies. Like, a lot of them even have 80-20, so 70-30 is pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
So on the show on SBS, an accountant criticized the structure, saying that Jong Hyun-jun is not a shareholder of Entertainment B, which is Star Crew Entertainment, and isn't the CEO. So on the paper, the company has no relation to Attract at all. But it's not a paper company. It's not like, it's not made. This is what Dispatch says. It's irrelevant because Star Crew is not a paper company. Jong Hyun-jun founded it. It was once home to some famous musicians. Interpark trusted him because of his success with this label. And that was why they invested the 9 billion that they did. I feel like this number keeps going up. I thought it was like 7 or 8, and now it's 9.
Someone just keeps adding more zeros.
Yeah. So this obviously
sprinkle some zeros in that number.
Yeah, this occurred before 50/50 was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
when they were trainees of Star Crew, and they in June 2021 they agreed to.
They're really good at incurring debt. Like, the debt just debt keeps climbing and climbing.
So, the exclusive contract with Attract was signed in March 2022. Thanks to the investment that Jong Hyun-jun received in advance, members were able to release their album. Now 50/50 is claiming the advance payment is a problem. SBS didn't verify this. They just aired what the members' lawyers alleged, this is what the lawyer said. Until the advance payment is paid, members won't receive their settlements. The revenue generated from 50's music is Attract's only revenue stream. This means Attract is selling 50/50 to pay back a hefty loan of 6.3 billion won to Interpark in their stead. Again, the number is just
and changing. I guess the dispute they have there is that's not the members' problem or fault, and they should be paid after their training fees have been basically wiped.
Yes. So,
which is understandable in that sense, but also makes things very difficult for the company to even operate.
Yeah. So what Dispatch are claiming here now is that this point, this being a basis, and this would be, again, a totally reasonable basis for a lawsuit. If you're being held to pay back a debt that's not yours, that's absolutely grounds for a lawsuit, like 100%. Like, and I don't think anyone would stand in their way if they were being told, oh, hey, you have to pay back 9 billion and not 2 billion or whatever it is, right? But so Dispatch, obviously, they did some digging. They asked an insider at a music label. So this is where we start getting into less verifiable people. Some guy said that, the long story short is that they don't have to pay this back. The threshold for settlement is 3 billion won, which directly went into their debut and promotion. So they should have to pay back 3 billion, not the rest of it, right? So this person said, this is clear math. If a label received a 5 billion won advance payment and they generated the same amount of music revenue, do the singers not get paid? If the contract is 7-3, the singers will make the 150 million won. The advance payment is the label's then, not the artist. This is not something that they should have been worried about. Also, the dispatch go on to say that according to advertisement people, 50/50 were offered 20 different commercials from coffee companies to banks, electronics companies. These alone would have brought them 1.2 billion won, about $895,000, which they have not been able to get because of the legal feud. They claimed, or there's a claim that Attract refused to go ahead with some of these schedules because of the members' health. So people thought this was referring specifically to Honan, who had that surgery and stuff, but then it emerged in the show that there was another member who had health problems or something as well. So this is where the legal feud began. So then negotiations for commercial deals for luxury brand skincare, school uniform, and sports endorsements were all halted.
God, this is all such a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
because they had everything there to pay it all off and for everyone to make money, and they've all just like squandered it. Like it's like everything was there to have no debt for everyone to make a lot of money, and it's just screwed now.
And it's I don't know, maybe Dispatch is wrong, and maybe Attract really were trying to force them to pay back that extra.
It's possible. Like I definitely would not put it past like a fucking corporate company to not do that.
It's definitely possible, but we saw on that settlement thing saying that this is how much debt they have, so that big number is not part of it. So if they are trying to say that, then it would have been in addition to what they've already revealed, and obviously if they weren't revealing it to the members, then that could lead to the confusion, right? But I find it hard to believe that now in this situation the Attract couldn't say, hey, no, like we're not going to try and make you pay this back, and like we're at the point where pretty much close to the point where you could start earning good money, and we're just going to, obviously 30% of the revenue is yours, we still are taking that 70% and we're still using it to pay off the debt that
you're paying it off with that Sabrina Carpenter version, man. I told you.
It's pretty good actually. So Dispatch end this article, this pretty snarky tone. They're like, what was this PS attempting to reveal? Did they want to reveal the family members' anger? Because if so, they succeeded. Family members seem very upset. Did they want to reveal An Sung-il's toothaches? If so, then again, they succeeded. And when I read this line, I was like, is this like a Korean metaphor that I just don't
Did someone
understand?
Get like fired from SBS that works at Dispatch or something?
Possibly.
They were just waiting and salivating for the moment they could like make the
They reveal it again with this another text exchange between Beck, this employee, and Jung Jun. Every Tuesday at 2:00 we meet with the new team at the company. This afternoon we're planning on having a mid-evaluation before the monthly evaluation. Jung Jun said, thanks for working so hard. And Sung-il, it seems like he's having tooth problems. I'll have a manager send him some soft food that I've wrapped and placed in an ice box. Please send this to Sung-il. We must all be healthy if we are to succeed. And Beck says, "Aigo, ne, I will deliver it to Sung-il. Thank you." That was how they ended the article. So, it feels like Dispatch's mind is made up based on what they've dug up. I'm still, I can't land firmly in one side.
At some point, we'll be able to form like a full conclusion, because I'm sure there will be just like a final like, this is it.
It feels like now we're in the lawsuit and everything. Like if this kind of information is being presented in court, then what do the Fifi members have on their side to refute this? Like if they have stuff, then I feel like at least for the Korean public's public opinion, they're going to need to present it because they've already,
That's
even
the
if they
one
win
they
the
really have to win, though. The
public
members.
opinion court, yeah,
The members, if they have any hope of having any type of career, they have to win the court of public opinion. Otherwise, they have
exactly,
no career. It's like
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't matter if they win an actual lawsuit case or anything.
Obviously, and then again, like we said, talked about this multiple times now, but the difference is so stark between how the Koreans are reacting compared to how international fans are reacting. Like to Dispatch dropping this big piece of investigative journalism, the response was like, "Oh, they're just paid off." Remember how they tried to turn us against Chew and stuff like that? And I was like, "Yeah, I remember how they revealed the phone calls, but I don't recall them trying to turn us against Chew. I just
they
remember
didn't give like
dropping some facts, like
a full opinion on Chew or anything, where they're like formulating something.
I think people maybe are so used to reading stuff that's opinionized, they believe everything is trying to manipulate them one way or another.
Well, because I think Western media often
It
is like
yeah.
super opinionized in what you're
Right.
reading and stuff, so it's understandable through that lens. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask: do you think any of this would have occurred the way it has if it wasn't for the success of Cupid?
If there was probably if there was going to be a lawsuit on these conditions,
I just wonder if Cupid was like the thing because it was so successful that became like the shiny jewel in everyone's eyes that caused so much of this
undoubtedly, because
actions
now you're
that have taken place and stuff.
Because I think you would have gone from like, I don't know, I can't put myself in an idol's shoes directly, obviously my feet are really big, but it would be like, I have to feel like if you're a small company trainee and you debut, and obviously you don't have huge success right off the bat, you would be like, okay, I know my place. Like I'm not a Blackpink, I'm a Dream Note. Sorry, Dream Note, I love you, but you know what I mean. Like you understand, like you're going to have a small fan base, a small but passionate fan base that you're going to have a good relationship with, but you're not going to be raking in millions from the album sales, and that's okay if as long as you can kind of stay afloat. But equally thinking, well, the company is going to be doing their best to keep the lights on and keep us going and keep giving us music and stuff. But I understand we're not going to be making much money. We're going to be living day to day off the kind of allowances and stuff that we get. So I feel like that kind of level of pragmatism should exist among idols nowadays, especially debuting idols. So when they see, oh, we've had a incredible international mega hit that has just broken any expectation of even a huge K-pop group would fail to reach these
billboards and everything.
Then okay, now hold on, we can break out and not be condemned to that lifestyle again. Not a bad thing necessarily, but we could be huge. And maybe now they felt, okay, we're being held back by this stuff. Maybe I think this maybe the not knowing, if they didn't see their own settlement data or whatever, they don't know how much debt they still have. Maybe they feel like, oh, we've had this big hit, it's been a couple of months, where's our money? But it doesn't work like that. It can take a while before you start actually seeing profits from royalties and things properly flowing in and stuff. And then they have a voice in their ear from the employee Bex of the world saying, hey, they're trying to scam you out of your money, you should leave. And then
I think a thing that kind of leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth in this one too is like the family members of the girls being like so kind of involved in some of the things and people wondering what that relationship's like and everything too.
Especially because they seemingly have a close relationship with the Givers members only. It feels like it doesn't feel like the Attract staff had the same relationship.
There's kind of that image of like the Givers guy being like this like slithery snake to the family, like strolled in, whispered all the things into the ears of the family members they could have and everything. Like, it's kind of like, it's just really shit, isn't it?
It does just suck. So I guess all that remains is to kind of wait and see for the results of the trial as and when it progresses, and if Attract or the Givers or Dispatch choose to, or SBS for that matter, choose to reveal any further information.
I just feel like the more that comes out, nothing gets better about it.
No,
Like it just feels like
that much is
it's
true.
just getting worse the more is revealed. Like there's nothing that's coming out. I'm like, oh, that's like a interesting thing in light for that side or something. Each time it comes out, it's like everyone sucks involved in
Yeah,
this. Is like
yeah.
what I feel every time like that it keeps dropping
Um,
more information. Like
one thing I will say that there was a thing about how a it was like a nutritionist or someone basically evaluated the members and revealed, they're malnourished, they're not getting what they need, and they said to attract, like, hey, they need proper nutrition, like what they're getting. They said, I'll give the direct quote. This is from late 2021. Said they're protein deficient, they need to eat vegetables, they must eat breakfast, they're malnourished, and they need to eat dietary supplements. Konjac jelly should be eaten as a snack only. It cannot be a replacement for their actual meals.
well, then
So,
that's clearly terrible.
but although it's said that it wasn't until June when they debuted that they met with the nutritionist, where the members would then eat at a salad bar, but they were given just 10,000 allowance to do that. And they pointed out as well that the example, obviously it's difficult because it doesn't.
Well, so there's an actual nutritionist saying they weren't getting their proper nutrition.
But they gave the counterpoint of JYP, talking about how JYP spends millions every year for the quality of food at the cafeteria, having like really good food and stuff is a big thing at JYP, blah blah blah. Obviously, if you don't have any money, it's hard to pay for that allowance. And I think basically the point is the company was able to give the members that 55 grand a month allowance, which is not much, but the expectation is, okay, then they have to supplement it, and the supplementation that they should have been doing was not with candy and chocolate, but with other
with real food, quality food. I believe it should be the responsibility of the company to properly always feed the artist. Exactly.
It should, but I understand if you have not debuted a group, you don't have a revenue stream, and you can't.
But if you're getting incur debt properly feeding your idols,
sure,
like,
do it right. And I think we can all agree that the obsessive weight management and stuff like that is something that needs to change in idol culture, and like it has kind of gradually been changing. We've certainly seen that it's not as bad as it used to be, but especially with small companies, any attitude can exist.
I would say it's definitely the darkest side of K-pop that holds it back internationally the most, is that side of it, like the very kind of like evil concept of like not properly maintaining your health to have a certain look, almost like supermodels or something, is like the one thing that really probably keeps a certain large amount of people away from enjoying.
And you are seeing idol groups with members who are on the bigger side now, and I say this like not compared to an average woman, but compared to other idols,
compared to the unreal standard that they have.
So there's like I don't want to just name a bunch of names, but I guess you can imagine, you can think about who I'm talking about, and like the JYP obviously being a good example because they have all this good food that you can get. I think Hype's cafeteria is also shown as having lots of like good food you can get and stuff. And like I guess for like an example of like the Seraphim, for example, where the members are like jacked.
Yeah,
they're skinny, but they're like,
you can be properly nutritioned and like everything, and then look. Obviously, with that type of look, it'll have more toned muscle and things like that. Like we're talking about, like with Le Seraphim, it's when you see people who just don't have any like tone to them. They obviously just do a deficit of calories without properly like,
and they're missing key nutrients. So again, we said like we think that maybe it's slowly changing, but especially with small companies, like it could be whatever the CEO wants. I think the lack of regulation really hurts the industry, like you're saying. Obviously, it physically hurts the people, but it hurts the industry as a whole. And I think if the government has stepped in recently about curfew laws and working hours for minors and stuff like that, saying, you know, kids under this age can't work at it like for this amount of time, like stuff like that, to stop companies getting 12-year-olds, making them work 8 hours in a dance studio, because obviously that's not great. If they can step in and regulate that, which they have done, then they should also step in and regulate what they should make, you know, like a minimum amount of nutrition, calories.
The only understandable diet control to me would be like having a diet that doesn't affect your ability to perform. Yeah. Basically. Like, obviously you have to sing and dance, so you should be healthy. Like, you shouldn't be like eating Taco Bell then going to on stage to do like 2 hours of dancing or something that's not healthy in general for you or something, you know. Yeah. But this idea of like, oh, you better have like complete this weight, no fat anywhere, basically is just a ridiculous idea, really. And I think it's so like, it reminds me of like the old era Hollywood kind of like.
Well, I think what you said about supermodels is it made like the whole like super size zero kind of thing, you know. These like completely like thick, thin supermodels and stuff that would collapse on the runway. And we've seen that with some idols, right? Like idols passing out on stage and stuff like that, or having to go off stage, and multiple health hiatuses and things. Like, it's certainly there's certainly a correlation between those two things, you know. So
you'll see it sometimes. You'll see it in the wrong way, where someone maybe is just like not a generally small person or skinny person in general, and then you'll see people be like, oh my god, they must be starving themselves, like all these bad things they start saying, and it's like, maybe that person's just small or something. Small, someone can't just be skinny, just like someone can't be bigger, you know, like naturally. It people can have different both, brains. You know, fluctuated ways. Of course, sometimes there's cases where you do see it and you're like, okay, clearly they need to eat more food or something, you know, like, but it's I also don't like when you see it almost where it's the opposite, where someone's like skinny, maybe naturally or something, and then someone's always like, oh my god, they're not eating properly and all this stuff. Like, some people are just small and skinny very naturally, like that's how they're built. It's so, but I do agree that you'll see people in K-pop sometimes where it's like, I don't know that they've been eating like a healthy diet or something, because how do they have, you can't maintain that, especially the amount of time they're dancing and stuff. Like, that's so much of a workout and burning calories. Like, they should be consuming actually quite a bit of food considering what they're doing.
And it would be a really good way to build, not necessarily build muscle, but certainly like get a very good like toned appearance, is to have like a good calorie income and then also burn it while dancing.
I eat a healthy amount of food, and I imagine if I was doing the amount of choreo and dancing that these idols are doing, I would be jacked from like just the amount I'm eating right now. So if anything, I would need to be consuming more because of how many calories I'd be burning. So it's like they're not filming like, it's almost like they have to live that lifestyle of like an actor. When you hear about like Henry Cavill going on like where he didn't drink water and something, so his abs show up a certain way or something. It's like, you almost feel like idols are expected to live that lifestyle and perform.
They do that.
You know what I mean? Like, and perform and sing and dance for you and everything.
Yeah, I remember it was before. Do you remember that stage of it was a bunch of, I think it was like the year of the rat idols or something, like a bunch of idols from different groups that were born in the same year.
I know what type of like performance you mean.
They would do it, and they did G. And it was like Sorn and Hyebin from Momoland, and like there are a few other people in there. I don't remember everyone. Sorn and Eugene from both in CLC obviously at the time. And they were saying like, they were like panicking before. They were like, oh shit, like my abs aren't popping, like like it was too flabby here and stuff. So they were like, okay, let's just not drink water for the whole like next 2 days and do loads of ab exercises or whatever, so that when we go on stage our abs will look better. And it's like, I mean, geez, girls, like you're just dehydrating yourself, and
They're living like the Christian
yeah,
Bale lifestyle
the
of the
machinist,
machinist.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
it's how could you
It's not
imagine
healthy.
having to functionally do cardio and perform like not drinking
Oh
water
my
for
god,
like 2 days? Because
it's like
if I'm doing a workout, I'm like, I need like a cup of water like right now or something, you know,
yeah, yeah.
like
Like I'm trying to drink a minimum of 3.5 liters of water every day,
yeah,
and like if I'm still I'm getting thirsty. Like I mean,
yeah,
it's hot and humid out here at the moment, but it's like I'm just walking around and I'm thirsty.
yeah.
So like yeah, I can't imagine hours in a dance studio not being able to properly
It's so
hydrate.
bad in the long term for your health to just really push your body like that. Like that's the kind of stuff your body ends up doing if you're like surviving in the wild or something, you know. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's
And
not supposed to be your standard everyday life
then you
experience.
can get this almost like minor kind of refeeding syndrome thing where
Mm-hmm.
like when you're then out of a group or you're on a hiatus or you've left a group or whatever, you then are like, finally I can eat without restrictions, and then you can like overdo it, and because your body is not used to eating loads of things or eating very rich foods, then it can make you really sick and like cause other health
Yeah, I
problems.
always
So
see one of the things I'm always so confused and worried about is the unrealistic kind of diet stuff they'll show sometimes too. You'll see those variety things and then they'll show like the idols consuming like these mass amounts of sweets and meat and all these different things and you're like,
right,
"Well, I know they don't do that."
doing
Like
like
you know,
mod
it's like I know they
yeah,
don't eat like that because it's just not real that they are consuming that and then have that body type that they're showing in this like
yeah.
video right now. Like, so you're almost terrified of like what do they do after these shoots or something, you know, like what.
Well, I remember, I can't remember what who it was, but I remember an idol saying like that they loved going, they when they were promoting was the best time because they could go on variety shows, and that was the only time they could eat well.
So they just get to like eat only well in that variety show. They go home and they're like,
Yeah,
you get like a chicken breast for the next two
you
days or something.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly. Or you get like an apple.
which is so
Um,
bad for you to like
yeah,
consume in this like mass amount and then to just really cut yourself to like nothing or whatever.
yeah,
Like that's actually one thing that's like supposed to be so bad if you're trying to maintain like a consistent
yeah, yeah.
health and
And
body type. Like it's
I think it was Kai from EXO was saying when he started training, he could only have he only had kimbap every day, one kimbap a day, and it was like I remember, I mean, like I eat kimbap for lunch, and it's like the most calorie rich one you can get is like 500 calories.
so he's surviving like barely under 1,000 calories a day. Like
Yeah, like it's just
that's
yeah,
crazy
it's
because I've
not.
had meals where I've consumed like 1,000 in like no problem or something. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's like
I mean, like the healthy amount is like for maintenance is 2,000 for women and 2,500 for men, right?
yeah
Depending obviously on your
on
body
your
type and
size
stuff.
and everything. Yeah,
Yeah. Um. So being significantly under that is very dangerous. So yeah, it sucks. And it doesn't help, of course, that then you have someone like Kai who now has like a crazy body and everyone's like lauding him for it, and justifiably so because he looks great. But when you think about how he got there, and then you see, you can imagine the pathway of a CEO going, "I want my idols to be lauded in this way, so I'm going to make them diet the same
yeah,
way, or make them do
yeah.
the same thing, or put them through these harsh workout routines." Especially for guy idols, I feel like it's a slightly different thing because you get guy idols being thrown into the gym and made to work out and shit when they haven't had proper nutrition for working out. Like if you're
Mm.
pumping, obviously cardio is one thing, but then you're pumping weights and stuff like that. If
I
you're not
do
having
like
enough protein,
I do like that I've seen
oh,
kind of in recently like Monster X and certain members clearly eat really
yeah,
healthy because they're just like you
they're
don't
getting big.
get that
Yeah,
jacked unless you're
yeah.
consuming
It's
mass
certainly
amounts of
becoming
food and stuff, you know. Like,
yeah. It's becoming a trend more recently among male idols to actually get bigger. I feel like it before it was like a thing that the guys were supposed to be wafer thin as
mm,
well. And it was rare to have. I remember, I think Shiwon and Nituk were like notable for being, especially Shiwon was notable for being like broad, you know, and having his abs out and stuff. Like, but then yeah, it was like guys, more recently you've had a bunch of groups who are getting like putting on a lot of muscle, but and like
you can tell those idols are having like the proper amount of nutrition, because you can't even get that shape without having like really good proper amount of eating and everything like that. Like it's, which is better to see than just like this super skinny type of abs showing, where you almost like making your deficit so much that it's just showing your flat stuff.
Your abs are prominent because your body fat is so low. I mean, and I think that the attitude is still taking a long time to change. Like Hoshi from 17, for example, posted these pictures the other day of him shirtless after a workout. He looks fucking incredible. I'll say that. Like he has like full, just like Apolline abs. Like the dude look, and Hoshi's a small guy, so it's like it's especially impressive to look at what he looks like now. But his caption for it was something like, "Oh, this is like my lowest weight," something like that. Because he's talking about how low his body fat is, and he's only viewing it in terms of like weight.
It's an interesting concept, because I feel like dudes, and maybe this is a Western thing, but I feel like dudes are usually, if anything, trying to pack muscle mass or weight and stuff like that to have a certain look, versus being like, I'm gonna get so skinny that I'm showing. Dudes want to get jacked. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of. I guess that would be more of a celebrity concept to want. To like,
it certainly is different between like West and East, but generally, I think it's kind of evening out a bit. But I think it's worth pointing out, because obviously it's not only girl idols that are subjected to problematic eating.
They're all subjected to unrealistic body standards on both sides of boy groups and girl groups.
I mean, you can look at a guy like Taemin, right? Like Taemin is like stick thin, and always kind of has been. But that's because he's probably like 90% water.
That's why he flows like absolutely perfect when he dances.
But it's there certainly was some.
I must just add in. I was so excited to see IVE, obviously, and that was like so incredible to finally see them. But seeing Taemin live is like one of my top 5 greatest live experiences that like I ever had, and like he's just another level or whatever, I guess you'd say, because obviously I saw a lot of really good artists that night, and I saw Wavy, I saw Taeyong, I saw like the 10 and Taeyong from NCT do their like collaborative, and they dance really good and everything. IVE's really good. All these artists are really good, but there's just like a commitment to Taemin's like character live, and then the way he moves or whatever, where even the backup dancers might as well not be there, because he is just so smooth, and like his performance of dance is just so incredible, where you're just like, is there anyone else on the fucking stage? Like,
I think that's why he's a legend, right? Like,
there's this one point where I think it's Criminal, where he does like the moving the other dancers in his choreo and stuff, and like the full like way he literally looks like he's puppet mastering all of them and stuff. It's just I by far the best dancer like I've ever witnessed like doing their performance, you know. I think you realize how good he actually is when you're watching so many people dance, and they're obviously all good, but then it's like you can see this clear like extra level that has occurred in front of you, kind of from what you were
it is actually probably the best way to notice any like really good dancer. Is like I remember when last Christmas when I went to Japan to see Nature a bunch of times, and one time I brought my buddy Brian, and he knew the group, he was a fan and stuff, and he knew like Haru was like the dance girl or whatever. And he said to me when we were watching, obviously that compared to the Taemin, like their choreo is not crazy difficult in the way that the Taemin's is. But he said, but nevertheless, he leaned over and he said to me like, wow, like even here, like I can tell just how much sharper her movements are, how much, there's just like there's something that just makes her stand out, and like
Yeah.
that's the mark of a great dancer.
It's the same thing when you watch some of the shiny, like when they had do hard. The new song. Sorry,
Yeah.
the title always makes me laugh a little bit. But they had like this video I watched of them performing together. It was only the three of them because Onu wasn't there with them. But
Yeah.
obviously they're all good. Like he's incredible and stuff, but you can see how like sharp Taemin is in doing dancing with them together. You know, you're like, holy crap, or something. You know, like the way his movement just seems so always. It's effortless, I guess you would say. You know how you can tell someone's worked hard and they practice hard and they're trying what they do. It's like Taemin could just stroll out of bed and perfectly do that. Like like where he doesn't have to try to be that or whatever. It's
that's something that they always say about what makes Shindong such a good dancer. It's like Shindong is obviously the opposite of Taemin physically.
But he's just got that natural like talent.
But it's like the clean nature of the moves, you know, just like how every single detail is executed so cleanly, even though it just half the time it looks like he's barely putting the effort in, but it's like every single part is perfectly captured.
It does just feel like he has control of like every fiber of his like body when he's doing something. Like it's pretty crazy. Like to the fingertip stopping.
Taemin's isolation, it seems like he can control every single like joint independently.
I imagine it's like the same kind of quality of like when you're watching an athlete and you see like a professional and then you see like Lionel Messi playing or something, you know, where you're like, well, clearly there's like a difference here or something, you know, when you're watching like. Yeah, just it's that same kind of quality where I was watching the whole night and I'm really enjoying all these performances, but then he performs and you're just like, oh shit, or something, you know, like it's like just that difference.
Yeah, you can't, you really can't like put a price on that level, you know. That's why he's a legend. Like,
because everyone there was incredible, obviously. Like Taeyong, Hen, when they danced, you're like, oh wow,
Ten's a phenomenal dancer.
They're really good. Like you're like, holy crap, when they're dancing. And same with Monster X when Shonu and I'm sorry, what the other name? How I was blank. Chanwon. When they dance together, it's really smooth. It's this really like nice precision and stuff. It's just the
there's
difference.
Something else.
There's something different. I don't. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
It's like how you can always go. It's like how they always say, like, I don't know. I think it's true for chess and it's true for like StarCraft, where you can have like the top 200 grandmasters, but of those, the top 50 have such a gap on the bottom 150, and then of those top 50, the top 10 have such a gap on the rest of the 40. You know, it's like. There's a huge. It's like you can appreciate a grandmaster, like, wow, this person is really, really good. But then you get to the highest echelons, and you're like, okay, like there's a whole other level here that these guys are able to obtain.
It's true. Like, I don't. Does he have like an equivalent I can think of? I need to just. It's so good. Like like you have to see him live because you haven't, right, or whatever. Like if you have
to rub it in.
I'm sorry, but like it's one of those things. Like I didn't realize I love Taemin going in because he is my probably, if I did like a favorite solo catalog or something, like Taemin would be like that one for me for like male artists. So because the advice to Criminal to like move is just like, oh my god, dude, just like those three alone and that's what he performed.
An idea
too.
well.
An idea, yeah. Advice alone is like my favorite male solo K-pop song, just in general one of my favorite K-pop songs ever made. And the way he does that choreo where the piano like gets played out of his hand, it's I can't think of anyone that kind of wowed me the same level in dancing when I was watching them and stuff. Like it's really crazy. And then obviously his singing too is such a high falsetto of like
he's not a bad singer either. It's
this whole podcast just turned into be like gushing over my tape.
I mean, well, it's kind of a nice way to end it, really, isn't it? Like we started off
it was so depressing for so long.
We ended talking about Taemin, end on a good note that
and then obviously I saw Love Dive live, which was just enough to like murder me in my chair. Like
I have seen that twice, so I'm a man of.
Dude, short hair. I was not expecting short hair. Yujin, and she came out and did like this precursor thing with Kitsch, with like the looking into the camera with the short hair, and I was like looking around me, I was like, I'm about to have like a heart attack in front of all these people or whatever. Especially when she does the breakdown in Love Dive and it all focuses on her or whatever. I was like, God damn, woman, like stop this. like I what happened to bubbly eyes one Eugene? Like you're just out here like gone. Slaying this entire crowd right now.
Long gone.
I must say Wang Yun did a good job hosting.
She hit you with that Valley Girl accent.
Yeah, it was very like it's like she's from LA kind of accent. She's like, I hope I'm having a wonderful night tonight. Like kind of like it was very much in that kind of style like that. Anyways, sorry, I have to hand my car keys to someone right now.
Yeah.
To conclude on that,
no time to explain.
No, I was just getting like this look of like a hand out, and I'm thinking in my brain, I'm like, what are you?
What is this for?
Yeah,
like, there are several. There's
things on my desk.
Which one?
It's like Blue's Clues would like picking like the items you have. I suppose, is there anything to add to what we talked about?
No, I think that's pretty comprehensive, but I think obviously we'll see if there's more stuff that emerges from the 50-50 topic. There was another topic I wanted to talk about. I think we'll save it for next time, because I think there might be some more stuff that comes out about it.
When to like conclude the topic. Yeah.
So we'll do that then, and we'll go back to.
I must give a huge thanks to Kay. Our Discord. Thank you so much. That is how I got to go to KCON. I actually had not planned on going, and fortunately through Kay, I was able to get a ticket to both the convention and the concert. So thank you very much. It was an awesome, incredible experience. Honestly, like my favorite probably K-pop show experience so far, except for seeing like obviously I have to put Sunmi and certain things like in that same category, but that's just like so personalized of an experience. I guess if I was to say just like overall quality of like how phenomenal the performances were, this was probably my favorite like experience of a show. I am a huge IVE stan and Taemin stan. That definitely plays into it, like, but still.
Damn, take a back seat, Taeyeon. Damn.
No. Like I said, like obviously I have very personalized experiences. Taeyeon would be my number one still right now. Taeyeon and Sunmi sit in this like co-locked kind of like my most incredible experience. But
I'm going to a show this weekend. I'm going to see Young Tak of Teen fame. So my which you've now heard me sing in person.
I have
immaculately.
Got like a 98%, I believe.
Yeah, I should have been a scam. But anyway, so that'll be fun, because it's gonna be me surrounded by a bunch of Ajummas. So that'll be an interesting experience. So I will give
the
my
full like to the side like dance.
I'm planning on wearing a sparkly pink jacket.
Absolutely, you must.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, this has been the K-pop podcast. I'm Honan.
I'm Oliver.
Goodbye.